Barracuda fishing heating up in Southern California. I wanted to show you an easy way to unhook your barracuda. Fish a single hooked lure, and then all you have to do is turn the lure upside down and give the fish a shake. Check it out. Turn the lure upside down and give it a shake, and off it goes. Great way to release barracuda.
Good morning, my friends. I just talked to Captain Brian, landfill on board the Independence. He's in a plunker bite right now with the guys from Young's Fishing Tackle. 40 bluefin, 8 yellowfin, keeping a fish going all the time, changing your bait regularly, and fishing fluorocarbon. Really important. Nice bite going on.
Barracuda have started to arrive in northern Baja and Southern California. Now's a great time to show you how to fillet these delicious eating fish. You have to take proper care of them. Icing them is a good idea. Have a sharp knife, that's the key, and push it down the backbone. You can see there's no sawing back and forth. It's a push. If we slowed this down for you to take a better look, just push the knife. Sharp knife will do it for you. Now it's time to get the skin off of there. And it's a similar process. You just push the knife down the skin size. Remove those bones and then push the knife and pull the skin back and forth. And then you'll have a perfect fillet.
Hey, good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California, here in Southern California in the good old USA. In case you're coming to us from some other part of the world or here in the United States, we are sandwiched between Seal Beach and Huntington Beach. To give you a little idea of the geography here, it's a gorgeous morning. However, there is a little bit more wind. That's why I have a little different angle this morning on the camera. I've got my back to the wind so the microphone doesn't pick up too much of the gusts that are occurring here. And perhaps gusts is too strong of a word. I'm guessing it's about 8 to 12 knots right now blowing in, so we'll just have to see what effect that has. I know there's some breezy weather and some downright nasty weather in some parts of Southern Cal that will affect sport fishing. We'll just have to see how it goes. By the way, Grunion Run is coming up in another week or so. It is open now. You're allowed to take Grunion. You must have a California fishing license. You're only allowed 30 per rod, and you can only use your grimy little hands. You can't come down here with nets or a pickup truck or anything else to load them in. But that is a fascinating, real natural phenomenon that occurs on the beaches here in Southern California and northern Baja, and it's great to take the family and kids out to see it, no question about it. All right, I digress. Let's get into it. Don't forget, hit that like button, share these videos, and subscribe. Don't forget, tick the bell, and you'll be notified when there's new content, and there's always a lot of great new content here on the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel. All right, we got a lot to cover with you. We'll talk about south of the border, take you down to Bay of LA for a second. Also, talk about that yellowfin tuna that has its nose pointed right toward Ensenada and San Diego, and it continues to move up. We just need a little bit more warmer water, and I think that will continue to occur. Also, we've got some great local barracuda fishing going on in several different venues. That is a welcome sign, a sure sign that things are headed in the right direction, even a little bit of sand bass with that. The island's providing good yellowtail action. There is a lot going on, and you know what time it is. It's time for the morning briefing. Good morning, my friends. Oh, so good. So good. And it's good to be with you all. Thanks for taking a little bit of time out of your busy day to spend with me here on this lovely Saturday morning. And let's get into it. Oh, I do want to mention to you that August the 15th, we have a day-and-a-half trip on the beautiful, big, gorgeous Horizon out of H&M, landing with our good friend, Captain Bill Wilkerson. I think there's a little bit of room left. You've got to book with Bill. His number is 619-985-5179. If he doesn't answer, he's out at sea fishing. Send him a text, and then you can get booked on that great trip. I'll be there filming you and making sure you have a really great time. That should be an absolutely fantastic trip. I think it's $535. I think it includes all your meals. Get all that from Bill. August the 15th, H&M landing out of San Diego. Should be YFT, yellowfin tuna, crawling all over that place by then. All right, down to the Bay of LA, and man, I'll tell you, Robert Mata and his group are having so much fun. Check out that Gulf grouper. What an amazing catch down there. Baqueta's Gulf groupers, they're really fun to catch. They're giant, and they are super good to munch on. They make really some great fish tacos, or however you decide to prepare it, it's going to be good. Glad that Robert and his group are having so much fun down in that neck of the woods. Just to reiterate what we have been telling you for a while now about that yellowfin tuna, there are commercial lift pole boats. Now, lift poles are the rods that you just hold in the water and then you lift the tuna on board. A very efficient way of taking all kinds of different types of tuna. And in this case, we're talking about yellowfin tuna. We're talking about outside of Bonitas Island, where there has been just some conking going on. And from Bonitas on down for another 30-40 miles, solid YFT, mostly 20-pounders, nose pointed toward Ensenada and San Diego. We need our water to warm up a little bit more for that yellowfin to surge in here, but we've seen quite a bit of it in the San Diego counts, and at times as many as 30 or 40 yellowfin tuna on a single rig down there out of SD. So it's all coming together, and again, with the El Nino, waters are eventually going to warm up, but they remain cold, and that's what gives us optimism for the longfin, the albacore. Rumors about albacore jumping out of the water, out on the dumping grounds, but just rumors. I'm not biting on it as much as I want it to happen. It's there's nothing concrete so far, but the water's cool. There's plenty of chovy around. We have local barracuda biting. I mean, it's just a throwback to when you would catch good albacore. In '97, we had some really great yellowfin tuna fishing, but we also had some really good albacore fishing that year here in San Diego and Southern California in general. So we're keeping our fingers crossed on that one. All right, let's talk about the San Diego bite down there in SD. I'll tell you, every day is different, and it seems like every trip is different. As I mentioned to you previously, one boat will just slam them and have outstanding limit style fishing, and there's a lot of that going on, okay? Really great scores down there. Limits of bluefin tuna, which is 2 bluefin tuna per rod. There's a lot of that 20 to 40 pound fish right now, but you still catch some of those bigger grade, but a lot more of it is 20 to 40, sometimes straight 50 pounders. It's biting in the daytime and at night. I'll tell you about your tackle in just a moment, but I just want to make it clear to you, you can be on one boat that gets just a few fish, you can be on another boat that just slams them. Let me give you a few examples. Pegasus, limits of bluefin tuna. Highliner, limits of bluefin tuna. The Grande out on a full day trip. 23 anglers, leaves in the morning, comes back in the evening. 46 bluefin tuna, 7 yellowfin tuna, 3 yellowtail. That is some darn good fishing, let me tell you. Excalibur on a 2-day trip, 26 bluefin, 3 yellowfin. Producer, 1-day trip, 18 guys, 25 bluefin, 5 yellowfin tuna. Sea-Watch, limits of bluefin tuna. They leave in the morning, come back in the evening. Same thing for the San Diego. Out of C4 Sport Fishing, 26 guys with 52 bluefin tuna. That is some darn good shooting. And in many cases, guys are getting limits of that 20 to 40 pound grade fish. 30 to 50 pound fly line bait. You're going to have to judge the intensity and do that if you're not quite sure about how to do it. And I'll tell you how you do it, but just hook up with a crew member and say, hey, do I start with 30? Do I start with 50? Those guys were out there the day before. They have got an extra sense about it. They know exactly. Choosing a good hot bait, changing that bait regularly. How do you judge the intensity of the bite? When you get 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys going, whoa, I'm bit, yeah, fresh one. You know it's really rocking and rolling. When you're in a plunker bite and you got one going and then maybe you hook another one and then you go dry and then you hook another one, that's when sometimes dropping down the fluorocarbon is a really good idea. www.opsonusa.com. Really great fluorocarbon. Put in FA at checkout and you get a hug and a kiss from owner Greg Brown as well as a free gift. So make sure you put in FA at checkout. All right, so some mixed scores, but pretty darn good. At night, there's some very good nighttime fishing, and then there are some nights where it is so brutally slow that all you can think of is your bunk and covering up and getting out of the cold. And then other nights when it's full speed. 300 to 500 gram jigs, depending on wind and current. Remember that metered line is really important. Captain says drop to 300 feet. You know exactly because it changes color, the line that is, every 100 feet. So it's such a good way to keep tabs on where you are. You want to fish vertical, straight up and down, if at all possible. That's really important, because if you're out like this, your line is out, and you've got 300 feet off your reel, you're probably not at 300 feet, you're probably at 150. So you have to scope. Using a heavy enough lure is really important. So keep that in mind, my friends. All right, let's talk about the islands now. And of course, we'll talk about San Clemente Island, where there has been some really great fishing. There's been some yellowtail and bass and bonita, and then the sea lions get you on another day, and it's just horribly slow fishing. And also, there's bluefin tuna in the sights of many of the overnight boats here in LA, Orange County area. Keep that in mind. Thunderbird limiting out on bluefin tuna. Then they go into Clemente and they catch some evening yellowtail and calico bass. Absolutely wonderful fishing when you can think about catching bluefin, just incredible bluefin tuna fishing, mixed up with some YFT. And then you go into an island and you catch some yellowtail. And then you have a pleasant night's sleep if you're on a multi-day trip there in Pyramid Cove or something like that. It doesn't get much better than that. The Fury had one of those days where they looked at yellows all day long out of Dana War sport fishing, caught mostly bonita and, bass and some rock fishing, stuff like that. But those kinds of trips happen. Also at Catalina Island, we continue to see some pretty good signal on yellowtail. That's really an island that is being overlooked right now. There's some good fishing going on out there. Pursuit and several other guys have been picking away at the yellows over there in that neck of the woods, and hopefully they're going to continue to do that. The Triton had 7 yellows over there, and then they have a mix of the bass, bonita, barracuda, rockfish, gale force with 8 yellowtail over there. Some pretty darn good fishing at Catalina Island. And let's just stay on the islands. We'll go up to the Channel Islands, where it is really windy here today. It is very, very windy. In fact, the Mirage had 78 white sea bass and a bunch of halibut and so much more just the other day, and they had to cancel. And it was with the Christian Fibbers Fishing Club, and man, they were heartbroken, but that's the right thing to do. It was just not going to pan out. It was way too windy, so they are dealing with some wind up there in the Channel Islands right now, and it is breezy up there in that neck of the woods. Hopefully it'll straighten out here soon. Looks like it's going to be breezy for a while, so we'll continue to watch that for you very, very closely. All right, Dan at San Diego, their local bite. We continue to see some calico bass, not bad, out of Seaforth sport fishing on the half-day boats. Also, worth mentioning to you, Coronado Islands are pretty good in some cases. You get some yellows, some bonita and barracuda, rockfish out there, not bad at all. Moving you up the coast, man, the barracuda have finally arrived, and man, they arrived in full force. There's some great fishing going on in several different locations from San Diego up to the Channel Islands. But the LA Orange County based boats, they are in heaven. For a few days now, they've been catching barracuda, and it has been really good. Victory, 220 barracuda. It doesn't get any better than that, and they love the barracuda, that is, to bite the iron. They bite the iron so well. There's no better way to take those fish than throwing a jig. Color, I believe, is irrelevant. You can, fish blue and white or scrambled egg or whatever. It's the way the jig swims. I love a Tatty C with a single hook. That's me. You can pick any number of other jigs that will work also really, really well. But I love a Tatty C, Tatty 45. There's all kinds of other lures out there that will work just great for you. Native Sun, 88, Barracuda, Monte Carlo. Just slammed the barracuda. I mean, they were all over it as they had great fishing on the half-day boat out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro. Captain Walt out there doing his thing and having a lot of fun. And in some cases, guys are able to not only fish for the barracuda, but also get you some sculpin or some bass on the freelance. That certainly was the case. They had a couple of barracuda per rod, a couple of sand bass per rod, and then they also provided limits of sculpin for their folks to make sure that everybody was going home with some great eating fish. Not that barracuda aren't great eating. Got to take really good care of them. Icing them right after they're caught is always a good idea. Filleting them and then eating them the same day. Smoked is a great way to prepare that fish. So lots of barracuda here in the LA Orange County area. A good weekend for you to get out and have some fun with it. Man, it's exciting stuff and really, really good fishing. So hopefully that's going to continue, and hopefully these guys caught some fish that are walking by right now. I'm hoping they were out there on the jetty and catching some really good fish. All right, what else can I tell you? Fishing is really going well here in Southern California. It is rocking and rolling. However, we do have some wind right now. We'll have to see what that does. For sure, it's going to keep our water cool, and that means we still have a chance for that albacore. I'm not throwing the towel in by any stretch of the imagination. Water's too cool, too much anchovy around. It looks good. But at the same time, we got that yellowfin charging up the coast. Those are warm water tuna. The albacore, cooler water tuna. It's an interesting scenario, to say the very least. All right, my friends, can't thank you enough for joining us. Don't forget to join us on that day-and-a-half trip on board the Horizon out of H&M Landing. Few spots left. Contact Captain Bill for more information on that. All right, have a great weekend. Thanks again for joining us. Thanks for so much support. We are starting to bear down on 10,000 subscribers now and 3 million views, and I can't thank you enough for that. Thanks, my friends. Have a great morning, and I hope to see you really, really soon.